intelligence. And these are the same tests that I was taught in graduate school, and for those of you who are studying psychology, those are the tests that you will be taught, particularly the Wechsler series. And some of the original questions are still on the current test. They've changed a lot, but they're still there. Other people have tried to develop new measures of intelligence, but these seem to be the ones that remain. They are the ones that work. And I think that there are different ways to interpret them than we used to use, but pretty much the tests are the same. And the last half of my career I spent as a professor at the University of Alabama and as director of the training clinic. And I'd like to sort of mention a few of the lessons that I learned from being a director, a manager, and that is, if you're going to train students,
y después de haber practicado todo esto en la escuela de pregrado de la universidad, quiero también compartir con ustedes los 25 años que he tenido como directora de la clínica.
As director of the training clinic, I had to train students to work with clinical, train them in assessment and therapy, and the clinic also served as a research clinic for collecting data from clients, and we also had to provide good quality services to the clients. The faculty who were interested in research complained. The students spent too much time doing clinical work. The faculty that was interested in clinical work complained the students spent too much time doing research. The client said, we don't care, we just want services. So part of the job of a director was keeping everybody happy. No es posible. Muy difícil. Working with faculty and trying to get them to all agree on the same policies and the same training. It's like herding cats. It's impossible. So you do the best you can. And then you just don't worry about it. You do what you think is right. And work with the students. But it does help. You can minimize the headaches and the problems if you have a good clinic manual.
Lo bueno es que todos estos dolores de cabeza pueden desaparecer si contamos con un buen manual clínico.
A manual that will spell out or specify how you get clients and specify informed consent procedures, the record keeping. Because if it's not written down, it didn't happen.
Bueno, lo bueno de este manual es que te dice qué es lo que tiene que estar registrado. Tiene que registrar sobre todo las declaraciones de aceptación de tratamiento y de confidencialidad. Tiene que tener un buen sistema de archivo y sobre todo tener en mente que lo que no está registrado nunca sucedió.
You also have to educate the faculty and students about confidentiality.
También tenemos que capacitar a los profesores y a los alumnos sobre el hecho de la confidencialidad.
The confidentiality is probably more important to the psychologist than it is to the client.
Esta confidencialidad es mucho más importante para el psicólogo, no tanto para
the client just wants services, and they trust that you aren't going to tell all their secrets to the world, but they don't care if you recognize them in the grocery store or in the shopping center.
Okay. Al usuario final lo que le interesa es recibir un buen servicio. Ellos saben muy bien de que sus datos y aquello confidencial que ha sido dado en una sesión no va a ser distribuido. A ellos no les importa si ustedes lo reconocen en un centro comercial.
But we always gave the client a copy of our confidentiality statement, had them sign it, and also gave them any exceptions.
También le damos una copia de esa declaración de confidencialidad a nuestros usuarios que le tienen que firmar.
The exceptions to confidentiality would be something like child abuse, or if you threaten to commit suicide or to harm someone else, then the client needed to know that that was not okay.
Okay. Y también le damos una lista de las excepciones. Las excepciones serían, por ejemplo, si se trata de un cliente con tendencias homicidas o tendencias suicidas, que está involucrado en abuso de niños, que sabe que esas cosas van a tener que ser informadas.
And the clients also had to give permission for any research data to be taken.
Y también ellos tienen que dar una autorización para poder colectar los datos necesarios.
The greatest threats to confidentiality today are electronic communications, fax machines.
La gran amenaza de la confidencialidad en estos días son los correos electrónicos y los mensajes por fax.
For example, the Department of Psychiatry once faxed a client's record, but they faxed it to the telephone company, not the therapist.
Por ejemplo, una vez la clínica envió un mensaje fax y no le llegó al cliente, sino a la telefónica.
So it's computers, faxes, all of these have to be a great concern for confidentiality and for taking care of the client's privacy.
Todos estos dispositivos electrónicos son una amenaza para la confidencialidad y tenemos que estar bien seguros que utilizamos
The other problem with
preservar esta confidencialidad.
the other problem with training clinics is getting clients that are appropriate for the students.
Otro tema importante para esta clínica es conseguir los clientes idóneos para esta investigación.
You don't want clients who are seriously mentally ill or who are suicidal, because if you're a student, how would you like to have as your first client someone who's threatening to kill herself?
Por ejemplo, no son sujetos admitidos aquellos que tienen tendencias suicidas o homicidas, porque imagínense ustedes como estudiantes, me gustaría tener a un individuo que podría causarles algún daño o causarse daño a él mismo.
So it's very important that the director of the clinic screen all of the clients to determine that their problems they have are at a level that students can handle and that supervisors can handle.
Por eso es muy importante que el director, tanto el director como el supervisor de la clínica, vean los casos y aceptan solo aquellos que son idóneos para la investigación.
You really need to have some written procedures for handling emergencies.
Realmente tienen que tener un procedimiento escrito para poder tratar emergencias.
Procedures that even the secretary can follow.
Procedimientos que inclusive la secretaria puede seguir.
And you need to spend some time at the beginning of every semester reviewing all these procedures, particularly as you get new students coming in.
Por ejemplo, al inicio de cada semestre deben tener tiempo suficiente para revisar estos procedimientos, los documentos necesarios antes de iniciar el curso.
Because as the director, you may not see the clients yourself, but you are responsible for their treatment. And so having policies, procedures in place will make the headaches a lot less.
Por ejemplo, como directora, quizás ustedes no tengan un contacto directo con los clientes, pero es necesario contar con estos datos para poder hacerse cargo del caso. Y sobre todo, esta es una función importante tanto para el director como para el supervisor.
So if anybody is interested in developing a training clinic or training clinical students, there is an association of the directors of training clinics, and it is open to anyone who is interested in developing a training clinic, and there's lots of support, and that's part of what I did as a director, was help the association develop this overall manual. And it's probably one of the more significant things, although certainly didn't get the publication credit that my other research did, but it was one of the more satisfying and perhaps meaningful things. And so I think it's time that Silva.
A todos aquellos, thank you very much. Para todos aquellos que están interesados en la clínica de este tipo de tratamiento, podemos brindarles ayuda, porque como parte del trabajo que hice como directora, tenemos esta asociación que tiene ya el manual escrito y que puede ser adaptado.
Gracias.